we're live. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in. It's Wednesday. I don't know why I woke up today and thought it was Thursday, but it's not. It's Wednesday. It's Bank of Canada rate announcement day, so that's what we're going to talk about. I've got only a couple of articles ready to go. I think that would be the big conversation of the day, but then as always, we can see where the conversation takes us. If you're watching on the replay, as you know, we go live Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. We're a little bit early today, and the only reason because I have to actually take off a little bit early today, but I still wanted to get that almost full hour in as well. So I do have an appointment later on that I have to jet out with, but we'll get on, talk about the rate announcement, talk about the market, talk about our TFSA, see where it goes as the coffee crew rolls in. Thanks for watching. If you are joining us live, it's always nice to say hi. Don't forget to say hi. It's a good group of people that usually tune in, and if you have questions on investing or anything at all, really, we can, if I can't answer them, usually one of the viewers can answer them. We have a great group of people here. I do really appreciate everybody that watches, everybody that joins live as we talk about what we talk about. It's always fun. These live streams are a good start to my morning. I do really have a lot of fun with these. Well, without further ado, let's see who is here as people roll in. Candace is always first. Good morning, Candace. Hope you're well, and thanks for tuning in. Always appreciated when you drop in. I'm waiting for someone. This is the challenge for those watching. Now, this streams do get posted ahead of time. If someone can beat Candace in the morning, I don't know. We have to get some kind of prize, but she's pretty on top of it. So that's good. If people that are watching, that do watch Candace's channel, she has a new, I have to give Candace a plug on her channel. She's got Jill joining on as a kind of a co-host, guest posts, I guess would be the best way to describe it. Jill's doing a series, Financial IQ. So they posted their first video with Jill yesterday. So make sure you go check that out. I listened to that yesterday. Good on it. It's going to be interesting to see how Jill progresses and how this new feature segment goes. So check out her channel. I always like to help out the other creators that are us little people. And Candace, we will get to your chat GPT joke of the day very shortly. I will pull that up. But Nadia's here. Nadia, good morning, welcome. Haven't seen you for a while, so welcome back. Always nice to have you joining in the live stream. Hopefully your morning's going well, and hopefully your coffee's hot. And MC, good morning, MC. Always good to have you. MC, I do not know why your icon of your initials do not show up on this chat. Everybody else's does. Yours doesn't for some reason. I'm not sure why that is, but good morning. It's always good to have you here. Always appreciated, and love your insights. And Abigail's back too. Hello. Good to see you here. Interested to hear about the Bank of Canada announcement day. Yes, that's the news we are talking about today. That's really the only news I've pulled up because that's going to be on everybody's mind. I was on Twitter yesterday, and it's like the predictions. It's like it gives us something to talk about for breaking news, I guess, for once. Although I think if you read it anywhere else internationally, it's probably a no news day in regards to Canada's rate announcement. But it's important to us, obviously. So we will dive into that a little bit. And we'll see how well it's been announced. So most people know already. Maybe I should have scheduled the live stream right at the announcement. We could have watched it get posted. But anyways, I've had a chance to read the press release. I haven't dug in. They did do a monetary policy report. I always like to read those too. That's just me. I'm going to read that later on. I just haven't had a chance this morning to do that yet. But the coffee is hot, and we did a poll. I have to pull this up actually because we did do a poll. And on the channel yesterday, it's always kind of fun to have people's predictions. So let me just pull the poll up first, so we can, for the most part, the community was correct, as seems to be always. So let's pull that up. I hopefully have it here. There we go. So I did a poll yesterday on the community tab. If you follow the channel, every once in a while I'll post polls. This is where I share my purchases and stuff will go on the community tab. So check that out. There's always some kind of good stuff on there. It usually gets you notified if there's a poll or something like that, but you might not always see it. There's some other posts in there as well. So Bank of Canada rate announcement tomorrow. Obviously that's today now. Where do we think? And there we go. 66%, 0.25% increase. They were correct. That's what it was this morning. We can pull up the news article 20%. We're a little bit thinking it was going to be a little bit higher. I think the 25 gives some room to move in the future, as we'll get into here. But before we get into the news, we have to go and talk about Candace's our chat GPT joke of the day, which actually works well with the rate hike. I'm gonna guess you put that into the parameters in chat GPT. Why did the economy cross the road? These are terrible. To get to the other side of the rate hike. There we go. So that is ChatGPT's joke of that. Interesting thing on ChatGPT, I was reading a bit more about it yesterday. Obviously, we talked about it. Microsoft is investing into it big time. But I was reading old articles. I didn't realize this either. But back in, I think it was 2019, kind of when it first started, Elon Musk was involved with it. So go figure there. He's, I believe, no longer involved with the project for whatever reason. I think there was maybe some conflicts there with. I guess he figured there was conflicts there with Tesla's AI that they're developing as well. So he's no longer with that project, but was in it as kind of one of the co-founders. I learned. So something new. And there we go, Candace. So let's good call there. I think I'm with you there. We'll pull up your comment again, but let's just, I mean, obviously, let's pull up so people can see. If you want to read this, it's always the fun Bank of Canada press releases that is available, so you can check it out. But so no news. Well, the news is now 25 basis points, but you can kind of get a bit of the interesting thing with always with these reports is kind of what they talk about, right, and how they word certain things. We know inflation is coming down slowly, not as fast as maybe everybody is hoping that it would actually come down, but it is coming down. We're seeing that. We're seeing it in gas right now. I think we're going to have probably a volatile, probably few years. I'm going to assume a little bit with that, but with this, obviously, in the shorter term, nearer term, we are starting to see inflation come down. Now, that being said, it's kind of the last part here. And you know what? It's hard to probably read this, obviously, but basically the last, it's kind of always, you get the last paragraph is always usually what gives you the most of the tidbits. Talks about inflation has declined from 8.1% in June to 6.3% last month in December. So obviously lower gasoline prices, and more recently seen moderating prices of durable goods. But despite the progress, Canadians are still feeling the hardship of high inflation. That's of course in their essential household expenses, with persistent price increases for food and shelter. Obviously, we see that in the grocery store with rent, with mortgage payments. It's expensive, right? So short-term inflation expectations do remain elevated. Year-over-year measures of core inflation are still around 5%, but 3-month measures of core inflation have come down, suggesting core inflation has peaked. So what does that mean for rates? They're kind of saying inflation is projected to come down significantly this year. Lower energy prices, improvements in global supply conditions, and effects of higher interest rates on demand are expected to bring CPI inflation down to around 3% in the middle of this year, and back to the 2% target in 2024. Whether that will happen, who knows? We don't have a crystal ball, but it does basically mention here, governing council has decided to increase the policy interest rate by a further 25 basis points. That happened today. The bank's ongoing program of quantitative tightening is complementing the restrictive stance on the policy rate. Now, if basically they're saying now, if economic developments involve broadly in line in what they're forecasting, is they expect to hold the policy rate at its current level while it assesses the impacts of the cumulative interest rate increases that have happened this past year. So are we at the peak? We can bring that up to bring up Candace's comment as well. And if you have comments, fire them in the chat. It's always good to talk about this, but they are basically saying governing council is prepared to increase the policy rate. They always leave that in there, right? They're prepared to increase the policy rate further if needed to return to the inflation to the 2% target. We'll have to see. But I think we can bring up what Candace, good point. I'm on your page right now, but again, anything could kind of change within the next rate announcement. So then the next scheduled date is March 8th. We'll have to see what happens. I think we're kind of at the peak now. If we're not at the peak, I think we're really, really close to it. It's I know for people that have any kind of debts that are on a floating type of rate right now, or having to renew certain debts, mortgages, debt, having to renew mortgage rates. Obviously, that has gone up substantially, and so it's just taking time to work this way through the system. But I think we'll have to really see what happens, and that's the thing. It's all they're still saying that, right? I mean, we're seeing it. We're seeing it come down, not as fast as I think as people wish it would, obviously. But if we get a bad CPI coming up, that could probably yes change their mind. I think we're over though, Candace. I think we're over the big jumps. I mean, we had that big 1% jump. We've had half percentage jumps, so we're back to the kind of what it would normally be like if we're adjusting rates. They would just kind of tweak it, right? Tweak it a little bit with the 0.25 here and there, as it happened. It gives it some more time. I think it's just taking time, and I think we're going to start to really see the past year. Essentially, they started raising last March. I believe it was last March. So it's basically been a year of increasing rates, which is crazy because time has flown so fast. It seems like yes, like almost yesterday, I was talking with coworkers and stuff about they finally increased interest rates because they were kind of paused for a very long time, maybe a bit longer than they maybe should have, but that's a whole other conversation at the time. So we'll have to see. I'm not sure when the next CPI date is. I guess I could actually search that. Canada. For the next data. Yeah, I'm not sure. I have to search that up. If anybody knows that next date, December is out. Like when January would be. Release schedule. There we go. We can find this. 2023. You would think they would. There we go. So the next, Candace, and for people that are watching, the next CPI in Canada release schedule released is on in January. Or sorry, this has come out obviously. When's the next one? February. You'd think they'd have a better website. End of the month, 21st of February. There we go. Sometimes the Canadian government websites are just the worst to navigate. They're all different. It drives me crazy sometimes trying to find things. You'd think they would just list it. And so that is really all the news. If you are looking for things, there's some great news. We'll start to see more opinions and stuff come out now that the press release is out and everything else. So there'll be maybe some more to talk about tomorrow in terms of news and what we kind of see are doing. But great comment here, MC. Yeah, jobs and wage inflation will have to cool, and it's still jobs. There's still plenty of jobs out there, right? Like that's the thing. I think we're at record unemployment right now, and because we're not seeing that. And that's what we had that last time, right? It was 100,000 jobs versus estimated 5,000 was pretty drastic. If the job market stays hot, it will still mean more money sloshing around the system. Yeah, it's true. I was reading, MC, I have to maybe see if I can find it. There was a Canadian companies. We're starting to see, oh, it was here. Yeah, I actually saw this morning. With layoffs. We're just kind of starting to see layoffs in Canada. I mean, we've obviously had the tech in the States has hit, but this popped up today. Hold on, if I can get this in a full screen. There we go. Postmedia. So Postmedia is they're plan to lay off 11% of their staff. They're Postmedia News Corp. They do like the National Post, Vancouver Sun, Calgary Herald, and they employ roughly 650 journalists. So they announced layoffs at a town hall Tuesday afternoon. So that is kind of a layoff. We're maybe starting to see a bit more layoffs coming into Canada. And then again, outside of the tech, right? That was one that popped up to me this morning. MC, that kind of jumped out. I haven't seen any more, but I haven't read much news this morning other than the Bank of Canada stuff that was out. So we'll have to see how that keeps rolling, because unemployment is still very low. And it's always a prediction game is hard with a crystal ball. But as you say, we might see one more. I shouldn't say hopefully. We might see one more 20.25% raise. I could see that. It wouldn't surprise me at all. MC. Microsoft did have a weak guidance yesterday. Maybe the sign of a weakening economy. CN Rail, I believe, also they did. So CN Rail was today. I don't own CN Rail. I think there's a few people I think on the as the coffee crew or on the channel that have CN Rail, and we'll have to see how that kind of goes. I saw that pop up today as well. Earnings today is also a big one. Will probably be, it's always in the news, is Tesla's earnings are after close today. That will be an interesting one. What that happens, we'll have to see. And Jason, good morning. Always good to have you. Got a smiling face with coffee today. Yeah. And did it drop a little bit today, CN? I haven't looked. I just saw that article, Candace, but I was going to assume probably, usually that's what happens when earns 1.2. So we're all kind of coming on the, let's pull that off. We can share. I mean, it's the same. It's kind of a lot of the same thing, right? They're they're still making earnings, but everybody seems to be now warning about 2023. So take that as for what it is. But so CN Rail, lots of news. I do have to catch up, I admit, on the news today, but just with reading all the Bank of Canada stuff, I didn't have a lot of time this morning. But you're still in the green on CN. That's okay. That's good. That's always good. It's always good to be in the green on something. That's all good. And then so Jason, I wonder if he maybe owns. He was surprised. I didn't know there was actually a train icon. That's awesome. Surprised with CN too. And yeah, that's the thing so far. Job losses in Canada I'm seeing is mostly small startup tech. Similar in the US, not very widespread, and tech is a very tiny part of the economy, so nothing very illustrative of weakening jobs. Yeah, the big thing the one big thing too we're maybe not seeing necessarily, and how I don't know how it would actually show up in the reporting. Obviously, if real estate is down, there's obviously, I know everybody became a realtor, I think, back in 2021 and 2022. It'll be interesting to see how many. I don't follow a ton of realtors on Twitter, but some of them have been talking about people leaving that industry as well, because if there's not as many homes, if home sales are down so much, they're obviously going other places. But I don't know how that all works out into any kind of job loss numbers, that kind of stuff, because a realtor is typically a lot of times self-employed. I don't know how it's lumped into any kind of category or anything other than that. It's hard to know. I do know a few mortgage companies that have done layoffs. Some of the law firms have done layoffs with conveyancing and that kind of stuff. The hard part with that though too is a lot of them, it's hard to find good people, right? So if you're maybe hanging on to people maybe when you shouldn't, because if there's going to be a rebound of any kind, you don't want to lose, because as we're seeing in the market, it's hard to find good employees a lot of times, right? So if you get rid of someone, they'll probably be snapped up fairly quickly somewhere else, and we'll have to see. And that is the case. That's the case on any kind of a lot of times with commission. I think sales type of jobs for sure. Even on the mortgage side is you see that people would do it part time. I don't know how someone could. You never really. I mean, realtor maybe. I can't really speak for realtors. I don't. I mean, I deal with them, but through with work and stuff. But I know a lot of them probably did start it and got their license, because it's not a big barrier of entry, right? To do a course and then get your real estate license. But I think they find out very quickly how hard it actually is, and they possibly, like, if you're doing. I mean, I don't know what the average sale end is for a realtor in Ontario, for example, but if you're maybe doing one or two a year, I mean, it can be, I guess, lucrative if it's a side hustle, but if you're doing one or two things in a year, are you really that good at it? I don't know. It'd be interesting. I think there'll be a lot of drop off. That's the thing. If you're paying your dues every month and not making any money, why would you carry on doing that? Just hang up your license and go back to your regular job. I think that's what a lot of people will do. For if it's a side hustle, just find another. They'll find another side hustle to kind of make some money. It's the same on my end. Like, I do the mortgage side, right? And there's people that are part time, but they kind of come and go from the system, and they eventually get flushed out, because it's too difficult to be able to service your clients if you're not working full time. It really is, and especially now, I think, because with the market load, things are taking longer to sell. That kind of stuff. We'll have to see. Not to pick on realtors by any means, but. And that's exactly it. That would be the same for a lot of things, MC. It'd be the same argument, right? If everybody's doing it, it's probably a good time to not. Just as when, like, everybody is talking about how it's easy to buy a house and rent it out, and you just print money, right? If for some reason you see a lot of people doing that, and a lot of your close circle of people, and that's what we kind of saw. I can speak for that, and being in that industry, it's probably oversaturated, and it's probably not a good time to go that direction. But it's true, and it'll go in waves, right? It'll happen, and everybody will leave the system, and then when it's boom time again, people will flock back, right? People always flock towards where they think there's money, right? Just the way it works. Yeah, we've talked about the trades a little bit, and actually, I should actually have my friend Rob back on the live stream again, MC. But occupations where fewer doing it illustrates a better opportunity. Trades, yeah. If there's definitely, I think, a shortage still for trades, and for different skilled trades, especially, right? Pipe fitter, I mean, I'm not in the skilled trades industry, but there's definitely, I think, people are going into that profession. And I call it a profession because it is. I mean, it's hard work, and it's a lot of learning, and a lot of people aren't going into it. But anybody that I know that is in construction with infrastructure or heavy machinery, that kind of thing, they're doing quite well. And that's exactly it, Jason. Yeah, it's a lot of people enter something thinking it's easy, right? And how hard could it be? It's harder than people think. It's sales business. At the end of the day, there's also lots of costs involved when you're selling. When you're marketing someone's house, and carrying costs and all that kind of stuff. Not as easy as it looks. The thing is too, like, I know from how the market was the last couple of years, people trying to buy homes, so many people were in competition for it and everything else. And if you're working with a buyer, and you keep losing out on offers on a house, and you keep writing and writing and writing, and then the buyers get frustrated, and if you're a realtor, you've made no money, because you only get paid when the house sells, right? So yeah. And crowded trades is anything is usually a red flag. Yeah, you'd have to see. I mean, I don't know. I'm not really. It doesn't seem like right now the trades are necessarily crowded right now. I wouldn't think, but the one thing I think with trades, like I have a friend that is electrician, and the thing with the work, like he runs the company, but the workers and stuff, it's very that the trades are always very kind of transient, right? Because they go where the work is. So it kind of works out that way. And a lot of times if it's booming, they can't get the manpower to work a lot of times, and people will go to other projects and stuff like that to where the money is, right? Jason, I don't know. You have to let me know. Makes me think of the hype around TSM right now. I'm not sure what that is. Let me know. Type that out fully, because it's probably very obvious, but I'm not sure what that is. And I don't know if it's a something. Sometimes when you search for acronyms, it's sometimes you probably shouldn't search them, but so I'm not sure. You have to let me know what that is. I really don't. Oh, Taiwan Semiconductors. Okay, that's what I figured when I Googled it. Well, they're moving a lot of, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of chip manufacturing back, onshoring a lot of stuff right now. All right, let's pull up. Hold on here. As usual, I got to close off all my tabs because I have way too many tabs open as we go. But let's pull up. We're about halfway through here, so it's time to. And I love these comments as they get us going. We'll pull up the coffee crew. I mean, not necessarily a great day on the market. And did they? We should let me. Speaking of. I guess we'll talk about the coffee crew watch. This is our watch list. So Berkshire Hathaway poured a ton into Taiwan Semiconductors. Interesting. That's maybe one we could add to the list here. So this, for those that are watching that don't know, these are kind of some of the stocks and ETFs that we're kind of watching on the channel. Some people are invested in these. Some of them are just were suggestions to keep an eye on. Obviously not. It's not a portfolio. Don't like a broken record. Do your own research, and it's not financial advice by any means for any of these, but this is what we're sitting at today. I still have my eye on Air Canada. That's the one I've been kind of watching. It's actually been doing pretty good lately. I think I have friends that are in travel, and travel's been booming. I have a feeling their earnings are going to be quite I don't know. I'm thinking surprising when it comes up. I believe it's next month. So let's add. We'll add Taiwan. We'll add Taiwan Semiconductor to our list. So they're already speaking of that, Candace. They're already talking about is Taiwan Semiconductor the top Warren Buffett stock of 2023? Leave it to the Motley Fool to grab any kind of headline to write an article about. They can spin an article into any kind of into any kind of clickbait article, that is for sure. So we'll add TSM to the list as well, and we're getting up there. That's good. Always kind of fun to watch. Kind of red day, obviously red day out there. We'll have to see. If I don't think Bear Investor watches the live streams, but if Bear Investor is watching the replay, he or she is probably they like to buy on the red days. I know that from the comments on the channel. So I guess there's some opportunity there if you're able to add to any of your positions, whether down a little bit in red. But nothing for me today. Obviously, everybody knows I was doing the weekly one on Monday, so that will be added next Monday as we go through. And let's see if anything else pops up on my feed. This will be the time if anybody has any questions, comments, fire them up as we go. We'll be going to about 8:45 today, and we'll keep going live. It's always fun as see where everything goes. I'm just looking if I can see any other kind of Bank of Canada stuff, but I think most of it's kind of been covered and posted. Mostly articles, kind of headlines are again signaling the pause a little bit. So I think that's a good thing. That might be good for people. That's for sure. Especially if you have, I know mortgage rates weren't. If you have a variable mortgage, not good for a lot of people, or line of credit. So in regards to channel, we'll go through that. I just wanted to thank, I don't know if they're watching, but there was, it was yesterday. It was Paul. Paul was watching all my old videos, and I think I give a shout out to Paul because I think he's got the world record for watching old videos. He left a comment and said he watched 17 of my old videos. So I guess partly I'm sorry because some of them were terrible, but it's always appreciated when you go back and watch. It's always kind of fun, excuse me. But he was watching a bunch of those, which was good. And it's funny, it made me kind of go and look back and see some of my first. I went back to the kind of the videos as well to seeing my, like, it's always kind of fun to look back and see some of your first deposits and the portfolio kind of. I mean, you can see it in the when you get your statements, right? But it's kind of fun to go back and actually see, okay, yeah, this is like 2 years ago. I had it was like $800 in my TFSA, and you can go back today, and even though it's down, it's nice to look at it and go, oh, I'm up to, X amount now, it's kind of neat to keep that history. So I'll keep all those old videos posted, that's for sure. So people can go back, or I can go back and see them from time to time. It's kind of fun. It's too bad you can't go back in time sometimes to make other choices, but that's the way it works. But in terms of the channel, back on that, if you're watching, obviously now's the time. I'll show for likes if you're watching the stream. You haven't give it a thumbs up yet. You shoot it a thumbs up. It always helps the channel, gets it out there to all that YouTube algorithm stuff. Really appreciate it. And if you are, aren't subscribed, if you're watching this on a replay or not subscribed, if you're trying to chat, you'll have to be subscribed. So subscribe, fire to chat, say hello. Always good. I will be filming a portfolio update later on today. I will have some time. So it's midweek. I like to do a portfolio update, obviously kind of midweek. So we'll do that after the market is closed today. Once I get a chance this afternoon, I'll get that up on the channel, so you'll be able to see how things are doing. It's it's not been bad. It's not been a bad month so far, so it's always good. Kind of seeing it increase slowly but surely, which is nice. So I will get that up on the channel, so you can check that out. And I still have to get into that venture fund update. I haven't done an update for that. There hasn't been really much action happening with that. When I was talking to Wealthsimple when I had that call last week, I kind of mentioned it, but other than mentioning that it's starting, the first tranche is going to be coming out sometime this month. That's all the information they really had. So nothing to report on that one, other than we did have dividends get paid because it's sitting in PSU, which is the purpose high interest US account. There were some dividends came and reinvested in that, but other than that, just kind of sitting there still. So I think it should be probably from my understanding, kind of any day now, something might happen with that, but we'll have to see. In the meantime, I've been happy with it, just sitting there in cash and making decent dividends on that. The PSU dividend is actually quite decent. Same with the PSA. That's what I've started to add a little bit into cash position on my TFSA as well. Every week I'll purchase a part of that deposit is $50 goes towards PSA, and just to kind of bump up a bit of cash in my TFSA to be able to possibly invest later down the road with something. Haven't decided, but in the meantime, it's kind of nice because obviously the return right now was about 4.59% right now paying. We might see that actually go up, obviously there is a little bit of a benefit to rates increasing if you're able to save. We might see that raise a little bit if it decides to get passed down to. If the banks decide to pass it down to their savings account, we'll have to see what happens with the with that rate, with the Bank of Canada rate going up. That might kind of help a little bit to increase that. So that's always a good thing. Just kind of sitting there in cash. Going to keep on with the regular deposits and have a hopefully a good turnaround year as we keep trucking along. It seems like it's a marathon. That's for sure. That's one thing I've learned about. It doesn't happen overnight. I've learned patience in investing, and I'm not going to be changing that. So there we go, everybody. If anybody else has any last minute questions, we'll leave it here. If not, we will start to kind of wind things down. Like I said, I do have an unfortunate appointment this morning, so I do have to cut the stream a little bit short, but now is the time. If anybody kind of wants to mention anything or say anything, it's your time. And everybody's quiet. That's okay. Everybody's working hard, but that's okay. We will be on tomorrow, regular time. We'll get that scheduled up on the live stream. As always, I do appreciate everybody coming on. I know this is a short one today, but that's what hey, that's life. Life gets in the way sometimes. But we'll leave it with Candace's last comment as we sign off. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Really appreciate it, and everybody have a great day. We'll see you all in the next video. I'll be on there tomorrow.